Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Chainsaw Man Season 1, Episode 9. Another great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we'll immediately pick up where the last episode left off with Himenio's sacrifice. But there was one last Hail Mary, and we see the ghost hand come over and rev up the chainsaw, and Denji rises up and fights the grandson of the Yakuza dude, and they duke it out. Obviously, he's pretty wounded after his repeated fights, and Denji's kind of, handling him a little bit. But it's like, the girl calls for reinforcements, because obviously Aki's not in fighting condition right now. Apparently, power took off. Which is so interesting. She's all about battles and stuff, but even she got freaked out last episode because I think so much death and destruction, and also I guess she doesn't think maybe it's kind of a thing of, I don't know whether it's like with everything going on, she doesn't have to worry about, she's like, well, they're all going to die, so I'm going to go to Miawi and look after him. Either that's what crossed her mind, and I think for the first time she was scared about it, because she had always seemed to dominate most fights and always seemed like so confident and cocky and exaggerates a lot. But I'm curious if like this was the first time she felt true fear or something. I mean, it's arguably could be like with the whole bat situation in Miawi, like that was a first case of fear for power maybe, but I don't know. I don't wonder if there's going to be anything about the fact is that power took off, if anything will come of that or not, or what power's response will be, whether power will give one. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but there was a part of me thinking like maybe Himenio was still alive considering the ghost hand thing, but I think it's before she faded. It's like that one last push, that one last breath of life she used to like rev Denji up to give them a chance. But yeah, it does, because I did forget episode 5, they talked about guns becoming less and less of a thing. Once again, this is Japan. Japan is a big ban on guns in general, in real life, but also in this continuity. But like, because it also ties into the gun devil, whether there's validity to it or not, it's kind of like the less publicized a gun violence and guns being used, the less likely you're feeding the power of the gun devil. I think I was watching something else where I was talking about the belief being you feed off of, I was watching Demon Lord 2099. I couldn't remember what it was. I was referencing like maybe the belief in something is what makes something stronger, and like maybe power and belief and fear of guns made the gun devil strong. I couldn't remember at the time what I might have been referencing when I was watching what was it, episode 2 of Demon Lord 2099, but I think it was Chainsaw Man I was thinking of at the time. But either way, so, with all this gun violence, I don't know if this is technically making the gun devil stronger, or is it kind of how they got the guns? Because they even said it last episode. I think it was like Aki that was like, the only people that can keep guns around or have to be like, you have to like be like, gun devils are the only ones really allowed to carry guns around. So it's like, how did they get all these guns? Either way, during the fight, Denji tried to take one of the bad guys hostage, but Hongdu just slices through him and Denji, cutting him clean in half. Obviously, he's not dead, but his body's not automatically going to like reconstitute together. If he got blood in his mouth, probably, and if someone revved the chainsaw up, probably, but in the current state, no. So he's knocked out for now. So Hongdu's form melts away just like Denji's chainsaw form does. So he's worn out. He can't push anymore for this fight. So they're going to take off with Denji's body. Then we find out on a train situation that, like I figured, Makima's still alive. Now the question is, how the hell did she pull it off? She says later on, it's like, I wasn't shot. This isn't my blood. It's like, you were definitely shot, but... And obviously, it's like her circumstances seem to be like Kobini's, where it's like maybe Kobini, her devil contract is so very specific that it's like no one is allowed to know about it. Maybe the same thing with like Makima. I might have made reference to this too, because there was something else I might have made reference to, or if like I made a reference to Aizen's Bankai. Once again, it's been a hot minute since I've seen any Bleach. In fact, I have not seen any Bleach since maybe 2012, so I've forgotten a lot. But because I don't even remember what Aizen's Bankai was, but I know the whole point that Ichigo was the only one who could beat Aizen because he's the only one that had never seen Aizen's Bankai. So I'm wondering if there's something kind of similar to that with Makima's thing of like only certain people can know what it is, because like the people involved have to be blindfolded. Granted, the two like members from like public safety or whatever, like for the Kyoto squad that came to meet Makima, it's like, yeah, we're not allowed, low like rank and file devil hunters are not allowed to see. Only like she works directly under like the chief secretary or whatever, and it's like no one is allowed to see, because we see that even the prisoners were blindfolded. So you're like, so I guess she can't. I guess it makes it work better. Like how, once again, it's still unclear. Somehow she was able to get the names of all her targets. I don't know what that says about Makima. Either that's related to her power, or she all, because the question comes up later on from what was it, one of her subordinates, Madoko. He was like, how much of this did you foresee? And she doesn't give an answer. She's like, oh, that's top secret. You're no longer part of the organization. I can't give that information to civilians. But it is a thing of she anticipated this and was ready for it. That's probably why she was gung-ho about the whole spending that night together, because she knew shit was going to hit the fan the next day. So that spending that night together at the bar, the entire like division together, she probably wanted that to happen and wanted to be a part of it because she knew what was coming. Maybe she probably, I don't know if it's like a calculating thing of like she's like, she thinks 5 moves ahead type of thing, or 100 moves ahead, so she sees the chessboard and is able to, if you, once Trails reference of the day, if you've played any of the Trails of Cold Steel games, she might be a little bit of a muse. And it's kind of a spoiler, but I guess Mildine would be more appropriate to say. I guess that would have been, I should have probably said that. Either way, if you've never played the games, that won't mean anything to you. But still, like, I just wonder if she's just one of those type of characters, or like I said, is that directly? Because they did say in the subtitles, it said contracts, didn't it? So, like, she has, I don't know if they talked about, like, people having multiple devil contracts. So I wonder, like, is the situation that let her survive the gunshot situation last episode one devil contract, and basically popping people this episode is a completely different devil? There's just so much we don't know about that, and it's probably not something you get an answer to until probably quite late into the series. I don't see them. That seems like something that does not get answered until quite later on in the story. It feels like it, but who knows? Maybe that answer comes up earlier in the story than I'm giving it credit for or something. It was interesting too, because she made, the moment she was like, oh, give me like 30 convicts, I'm like, okay, so she needs people that are terrible people that it's not going to be too bad that they die, which is so interesting. She has the leeway to just sacrifice criminals like that, but it's like, yeah, she tried to use non-innocent people. There'd be like kind of almost like, I guess they'd almost be like the substitute of like voodoo dolls in a certain way, where it's like you use their life. It's like you even have them like, hey, say this person's name. So I guess that plays into the blindfold thing. It's like you're supposed to lose your identity and become the substitute for that person. So when she kills you, acting like a voodoo doll, you kill said person whose name you said. Because it's almost like, I guess, connecting your souls and making it so that she can track you. Even though she's in Kyoto, they're in Tokyo, and she's able to like squash them. So she's like popping people left and right. I do think it's interesting. Either she just ran out of people, but it feels like she would probably, because she specifically asked for 30. So, and that wasn't all of them. Like that was probably a row of like what, maybe 10 to 14 people, maybe at best. So it makes you wonder, were those the only one? Could she only get 10 to 14 on such a short basis? Or was the other half already used to kill more of the group in Tokyo? Whatever the case may be, like she just started exploding bodies except for the 2. And I wonder, did she do that on purpose? Of like, was it just a miscalculation on her part, which seems unlikely? Or is it just she let them go for a reason? because the main two are the ones that got away. Maybe her power won't work on them because of their circumstances, but maybe because those people aren't devil hunters and they're not like Home Dude who's part devil, part human, like Denji. Because of that, maybe her power can work on them because they're just regular humans. I have no idea. It might be a thing of you have to be exactly like that person. So to basically kill the dude that sliced Denji in half, she would have to basically use Denji to kill him because it's like because they are the same. So maybe there's a parallel there in some capacity of like you can use a human to kill a human, and you would need to use a devil to kill another devil, or maybe someone like Denji to kill Home Dude. But it's just speculation on my part. The real kick in the teeth was Kobeni. Now, you kind of knew she survived because Arai's body was the only one that was there. So I was like, oh, she got away because he sacrificed himself for her. And she shows up, knife in hand, kind of being like, oh, what's about to happen to her? Because, once again, we don't know what her devil contract is. That's meant to be hush-hush. But I didn't even think about it at the time. I think I just assumed she got the knife from the hotel. It didn't ever cross my mind the knife that she was using, toting around and stuff, was her own knife. But she's dodging bullets. She dodges the snake's tail. She slices Home Dude's arm off. And she's proficient with a gun, apparently. So... And also, like, it almost seems like she could have killed them if she wanted to. But it almost seemed like maybe she was given orders not to. And it's so sad because all this is going down, and then she's holding Denji's body, looking at him, being like, I'm sorry I tried to kill you the other day, but now she's like, oh, here I am apologizing for attempted murder. And then she thinks about Arai sacrificing himself. It's just too much. She's like laughing maniacally. Like, I don't know if her devil contract thing, like the price to pay for it, maybe it's her sanity. Like, maybe she loses more and more of her sanity or more of her soul the more she uses it. I don't know. We don't even know what it was. But like I said, she was moving around like you would not think that's the same person from the Eternity Demon hotel situation, the way she's acting. But also it plays into like, right, she is a bit of a scaredy cat, and, you know, so it's like she can push herself when the moment comes. Maybe Arai's death like pushed her over the edge to do what she normally wouldn't have the courage to do. But yeah, she's even saying that line is so heartbreaking when she's like, yeah, I should quit devil hunting. It's just not for me. And she's like, yeah, I'll just have to let Himeneo know. And you're like, well, she doesn't know yet, so. But yeah, we find out the end result is most of squads 1, 2, and 3, and 4 were wiped out. Apparently, the only survivors are the non-humans, and that basically going forward, the remnants of the other 3 divisions are going to fold into 4, and it's all going to be under Makima's control, which I'm like, I wonder, is that also a reason why she saw this coming and she kind of let it happen? Because it's like, well, I need everything to play out a certain way to get this end result. And it's kind of like a thing of, yes, you got to crack a few eggs and make an omelet. So to get what I need for whatever I am planning, whatever I want, you know, it's like knowing that this was most likely orchestrated by the gun devil, you know. And even the 2 that are with her, like, yeah, you know, we're not actually joining your division, right? Yeah, because we're only meant to be here for training. So it's like after that week, we're going back to Kyoto. And she's like, yeah, that's kind of a shame. Like, the places here to eat are to die for, which are like, that phrasing seems very in poor taste. And I think that's kind of the point. So some badass stuff went down in this episode, but we walk away with so many questions about what the hell this actually all was. I'm very interested to see where the next episode takes us. We're down to the wire because there's only 3 episodes left after this, so. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.